cook a great steak on a barbecue, but who knew you could cook a giant cookie on a barbecue? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to be showing you how to make, and this recipe is super easy to do. Now, in a bowl, I've just brought 185 grams of butter to room temperature. This is important so we can mix all of the cookie dough together. And then for some sweetness, sugar. 1/4 cup of caster sugar, along with 1/3 cup of brown sugar that's been packed in, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and I'll roughly measure that. And now we need to cream these ingredients together. Now, I don't have an electric mixer because I'm cooking in the outdoors, but the good old whisk does the trick. So whisking that until the sugar has started to dissolve and it becomes really light and creamy. See how that's becoming really pale? That's what we're looking for. Now we need to add 1 egg. So I'll just break that egg into a separate bowl. And then just with a fork, we'll lightly whisk that. Just makes it a lot easier to bind everything together. We'll place that into the butter mixture, and then we'll just combine that, and that's all of the wet ingredients done. Now we need to add the dry ingredients. So 1.5 cups of self-raising flour. This is going to give our cookie a slight lift. And when you're baking, always add a little bit of salt. And because I'm adding a lot of chopped chips, the salt also works really nicely with the dark chocolate that I'm adding to this, and also the white chocolate and the milk chocolate. Now, once you start to mix this, you'll see it almost looks a little bit dry. This is the way the cookie dough is supposed to be. So just bind it gently, don't overwork it. And now the fun part, all of the chopped chips. Like I said, dark chocolate, white chocolate, and milk chocolate, and that's 2 cups. This is one serious chocolate cookie, so lots of chocolate for this. I just want to bind this together, so I'll remove that whisk and then just get a spatula and fold this in. And just make sure when you're incorporating it, there's no big clumps of cookie dough. You want it to be quite evenly distributed. Now, before we start to cook this, we need to chill it. And you can make individual ones on a flat tray, or you can make a giant cookie. And I think a giant cookie sounds so much more fun. So just in a baking tray that I've lined with a little bit of baking paper, we will add our cookie dough and then spread that out so it's nice and even. And then just to ensure that it's super flat, I like to get another piece of baking paper, place that on top of our cookie, and then just with your hands, spread it out. This is the easiest way to ensure that we get a nice, even top. Okay, now that this is flattened, we need to chill this. It needs to firm up. So I'll place it in my esky for about 1 hour, and then 10 minutes before cooking, I'll preheat my barbecue. Okay, this cookie has been in my esky and it's firmed up nicely. So I'll take the baking paper off the top, and now we're ready to bake. So I've converted my barbecue into an oven, and I'll just turn the Q down to the baking setting. I've prepared the barbecue by placing a convection tray and a trivet in the center of the grill. This is not only going to lift this tray from the cooking grills, but it's also going to allow the heat to circulate so we get a nice even cook on this cookie. So I'll just place the hood down, and this cookie is only going to take around 12 to 14 minutes. Now the cookie has come out of the Q and I've allowed it to cool just on a wire rack. How good does this cookie look? It's golden brown on the top, so a nice even colour. And now, of course, it's time to have a taste. So I'm just going to take it off the baking paper. It's done its job. It slides off. And I'm going to cut a lovely, generous portion for myself. Have a look inside. The perfect cookie, not too dry, a little bit crummy, lots of chocolate. And then if you're going to make a giant cookie, I would assume you would serve a giant portion. Place it on a plate, And I like my cookies when they're at room temperature or just slightly warm with a big, generous dollop of cream on the top. Who would have thought you could do desserts in a barbecue, and it turns out just like that. Yummo. I'm gonna have a taste. A little bit of cream. That is definitely not your average cookie.